Vexta Project.
If we brought Orla to the witness stand, I'm sure she would tell me everything. Parrots speak and orcas don't. I forgot about that. I'm so stupid. Let me guess. Strike one for me.
Strike one for you. Great job, boss.
Now it finally all makes sense. Orla was a witness to the murder, so that's why.
Orla? Boss, something's wrong with Orla.
What? You're right. She's listless, and she's sinking! There's one more fact that indicates Orla was a witness to the murder.
There's more?
The culprit was afraid Orla could somehow reveal what she witnessed. And that's why they did what they did. It's the only thing that makes sense. I have to present that evidence. That evidence that proves the culprit thought Orla was a dangerous witness. Take that! The defense would like to submit this evidence.
What's this? It looks like some sort of medicine.
That, Your Honor, is a sleeping drug, a very powerful one. This sleeping drug was discovered in Orla's stomach yesterday. The culprit tried to drown Orla by putting her into a deep sleep!
Tried to drown the orca, but why?
Right, Zono. Are you trying to tell this court that the perpetrator tried to kill the orca off to prevent a witness from talking? Did you really expect to defeat me with that feeble attack?
My sword has been drawn, Prosecutor Blackquill. I'm not about to sheathe my evidence now. Orcas have an enormous potential for intelligence. The possibility that Orla could somehow manage to reveal the truth can't be denied. The culprit believed in this possibility, and that's why they tried to kill her! Dr. Herman Crab, you purchased this sleeping drug, didn't you?
What? Does this mean the veterinarian tried to do away with the orca?
Who else but Dr. Doolittle here would better know how to disguise an orca's death? He could even prevent the police from examining Orla's body.
Why, you? Are you actually accusing me of trying to murder the orca? How dare you! How dare you slander the noble profession of veterinarian!
My goodness, one could cut the tension in this courtroom with a knife.
Yes! I admit to purchasing that sleeping drug! However, it was subsequently stolen from my lab.
That's such a flimsy excuse!
It's the truth. What else can I say? Any one of the crew members could have entered my lab.
I guess that weakens my evidence quite a bit.
Besides, think about it for a minute. Who was it that treated Orla after she swallowed the drug? It was I.
But as I recall, it took you quite a while to give that treatment. You didn't even come on your own. We had to go get you.
Son of a gun. You just remember all sorts of little details, don't you, Mr. Lawyer?
The orca pool and the lab are far apart. It's little wonder he didn't know Orla's condition.
Objection! Didn't know? Oh, that's highly doubtful. As far apart as they were, Dr. Crab still had a way to know all about Orla's condition. And I've got the exact ammunition necessary to prove it to you. All I gotta do is open up the court record and fire. I present to you the TORPEDO.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
With this advanced data system, surely you would have known Orla's condition.
Objection! Wait just 1 minute. What is this torpedo?
Dr. Crab, how dare you bring a weapon of mass destruction into my courtroom?
The torpedo, or tele-observation real-time pertinent blah blah blah, is a data system. Until yesterday, only Dr. Crab and Mr. Shipley knew about the torpedo. It isn't legally approved in this country, so it was kept secret from the police.
It's illegal? Dr. Crab, I demand an explanation.
Son of a gun! You and your big mouth, Mr. Lawyer! Yes, it's true. I'm using an illegal system to monitor the creatures at the aquarium. The system uses sensors like these, and yes, there's one in the orca pool too. These sensors send sound waves through the water to gather data on the creatures. If it finds abnormalities in their condition, the torpedo alerts me with a sound.
Oh my goodness, how very high-tech. But if it's illegal, I will not turn a blind eye. This matter will be appropriately dealt with at a separate time. Now then, Mr. Wright, please continue.
With the torpedo, I'm sure Dr. Crab noticed the danger Orla was in. But he made no attempt to come to her aid on his own. And the reason for that is that Dr. Crab wanted Orla dead!
The torpedo didn't give me a warning message. That's why I didn't know there was anything wrong with Orla. The sensor in the orca pool wasn't working during the police's investigation.
Objection! Can you prove that statement?
Objection!
What's with him?
Funny? Yes, I find this all very funny. Witness, those sensors send sound waves through the water, correct? But what if there isn't any water?
Then they wouldn't work. They would automatically switch off.
I see. And where is the sensor in the orca pool located?
I don't know. Jack is the one who attached it for me.
You don't know? Then I will tell you. The police found a sensor just like the one you just showed us. They found it attached to the table at the bottom of the pool.
Table? Do you mean the table in this photograph?
That's right. Don't you get it yet? Right, Dono? The table is on the skull rock side of the partition. It is affixed to the bottom of the pool and can't be moved.
Oh, and so if the water was drained from the Skull Rock side of the pool...
Precisely. Without water, the torpedo sensor would not work. Witness, when did the sensor automatically switch off?
Hang on. I'll look it up. The only times lately were during cleaning 2 days ago and the investigation yesterday. Of course, I knew the pool would be drained while they cleaned it. But I had no idea they drained it for the investigation. No one let me know. That's why I didn't know about Orla's condition yesterday.
So Dr. Crab really did want to save Orla.
Did you hear that right, Dono? Yes, the water can be drained without harm to the orca if the partition is used. But if the water is drained from the Skull Rock side, the sensor turns itself off. If the sensor was always on except for during the cleaning and the investigation, it means there must have been water in the pool at all other times. It was never drained. In other words, no one but the defendant could have committed the crime.
Order in the court! This completely shatters the defense's argument.
What? The fact still remains that Orla was nearly killed with Dr. Crab's sleeping drug!
Objection!
But aren't you forgetting one important question? When was the sleeping drug given to the orca?
You're right. That hasn't been discussed yet, has it?
The orca pool is the scene of the murder. The police were there all day yesterday. The only way to give the drug to the orca undetected is to put it in her food. Yesterday, someone gave the orca food during the trial.
Someone did? I'm afraid I don't remember that.
You don't remember? You're not that old yet, are you? It was the defendant, Sasha Buckler.
So that is the orca that stands accused, is it?
Aw, she's waving her flipper at us. Maybe she's cheering us on.
Orla, wish Phoenix and Athena luck.
So your argument is that Miss Buckler is the one who gave the orca the drug?
The prosecution's argument hasn't changed. Buckler made the victim fall to his death and then manipulated the orca to pin it on her. Still not satisfied, she further planned to kill the orca with the sleeping drug.
I didn't hear any reports of Dr. Crab feeding Orla. Maybe he didn't have a hand in Orla's attempted murder after all. But is there anybody else who could have fed Orla besides Sasha?
If it's true, the defendant is the one who fed the sleeping drug to the orca, then that places even more suspicion on her than ever.
Objection! The defense objects to the prosecution's claims.
Well, you still haven't admitted defeat?
Prosecutor Blackquill, I don't appreciate the way you only mention the parts that are convenient for you.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
The prosecution failed to mention that Miss Buckler wasn't the only one who fed Orla. As you will all recall, there was another person who gave Orla food.
Oh, you mean that person?
Yes, Athena, that person.
Oh yeah, congrats, Sasha! Time to celebrate! Come on, Orla, let's get crunk in this shit!
Oh, Mr. Wright, no.
I don't want to believe it either, but we can't ignore the truth. The other person who fed Orla during the trial was John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. No, it was Marlon Rimes. Please recall when Orla was found not guilty yesterday. Marlon Rimes gave the orca a large quantity of food. If the sleeping drug was mixed in with that food, it could be given to the orca without arousing police suspicion.
Now that you do mention it, I do remember that flip-flopper feeding the orca.
Objection. So you remembered, did you? You see, the time for a true sword fight has come. I call Marlon Rimes to the stand.
Mr. Lawyer, both Miss Orca Lover and Marlon Rimes are important members of our crew. I don't want to suspect either of them, but I'm ready to accept whatever truth you find. Here, take this.
That charm.
It's the charm that matches the one Azura Summers had, isn't it? So, you and Miss Summers were romantically involved, weren't you, Dr. Crab?
What? No, of course not. Sorry to disappoint you, but this doesn't belong to me. At the time, I thought it was Azura's, so I grabbed it. But it wasn't hers. Now it's up to you, Mr. Lawyer, to figure out whose charm it is.
I will. Thank you, Dr. Crab.
After all, I'm interested in the outcome of this trial, too.
Now then, please summon Marlon Rimes to the witness stand.
Silence in the courtroom! What's going on? What's everyone making that face for? I haven't been watching the trial and nobody's told me anything.
Marlon Rimes, you are under suspicion for the attempted murder of the orca.
I see. Well, if it's already out.
Mr. Rimes, is he really going to admit it?
Fine. I'll tell you the truth. Sasha is lying to protect that orca. At 3:30 a.m. on the 20th, there was still water in the orca pool. The incident happened before the orca was moved to the show pool. Orla killed the captain by bashing him 30 feet high and making him slam down on the water. So I thought the orca should pay the consequences.
Now we're back to the orca again?
I did not see that testimony coming.
Now wait just 1 minute. Yesterday, Orla was proved innocent. Besides, you said Orla was in the show pool during the cleaning.
I didn't want to sell Sasha out. That's why I didn't tell the truth. But the fact is, all three of us, Sasha, the captain, and me, were cleaning the pool room.
But Dr. Crab and Miss Buckler both said you were at the show stage.
Well, the only thing Dr. Crab knew about the cleaning was what I told him. I didn't give him a whole lot of details either. Maybe he misunderstood. And Sasha is lying to protect the orca. She can't tell the truth. Sasha put blood on the skull rock herself to make a fake blood stain. I think it's pretty brave of her to let herself get arrested to protect the orca.
Mr. Rimes, how can you lie like that?
It's the truth. Besides, wouldn't it be better for you if I wasn't lying? If the orca did it, you win the case.
What?
This is all very hard to believe. But if Mr. Rimes' story is true, Miss Buckler would be innocent and the orca would be the killer.
Meaning if we turn our backs on Orla, we could save Sasha.
Having a witness lie to save your own client? What a dirty, underhanded tactic, right, Dono?
Objection!
Yesterday, the defense proved Orla was not guilty. And we have no intention of going back on our assertions now.
What are you saying, Mr. Wright? All you gotta do is admit the orca did it and Sasha goes free! Isn't a lawyer supposed to act in his client's best interests?
But that wouldn't be acting in her interest. Miss Buckler believes Orla is innocent. And we, of course, believe that Miss Buckler herself is innocent, too. Acting in the client's best interest is an important part of our jobs as lawyers. Using dirty means to win a verdict would destroy our client's faith in us.
That's right. We believe in both Miss Buckler's and Orla's innocence.
Huh? I just don't understand how you could treat a human and an orca equally. Sasha or the orca? You can only save one of them.
I don't know about that. I think I can save them both. All I have to do is disprove your testimony.
Oh yeah? Then go ahead and try.
I will do just that. If I can't tear down his testimony, I won't be able to save both of them. I've got to find a weak spot and start tearing! And I've got a perfect idea of where that weak spot is. Let's start with the fact that he claims that Captain Jack Shipley fell from 30 feet high. Can an orca even do that? Send a person flying up into the air like that?
Yup, of course. I've seen orcas bashing seals 60 feet into the air. That shit's crazy. So naturally, Orla could do that to the captain too.
What a frightening thought. And you mention it so casually, Mr. Rimes.
Well, what else can I say? It's the truth.
Mr. Rimes is claiming that Orla killed the victim by sending him flying into the air. But would something like that even be possible in the orca pool room? There's something about that statement that bothers me.
And so you witnessed the moment the victim was killed by the orca, is that right?
Exactly.
Now I'm abso-positively sure that this is the weak point, and I've got a fancy document from the coroner's office here to prove it!
Objection!
When lies are piled on top of each other, contradictions start to emerge. This time is no different.
Are you saying there's some kind of inconsistency in my testimony?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You claim that the victim was sent flying about 30 feet into the air. But the autopsy report says that the cause of death was thought to be from a 65-foot fall.
What?
Additionally, in your testimony a moment ago, you said at 3:30 a.m. on the 20th there was still water in the orca pool. The pool is about 65 feet deep, and there's about 30 feet between the water and the ceiling. If the pool was full of water, as you claimed, it would be impossible for the victim to fall about 65 feet, as the autopsy states. Try putting that on your mixtape! Mr. Rimes claimed he was in the orca pool room so he could make these statements. But in reality, he was at the show stage, just as Dr. Crabbe and Sasha testified.
I believe that brings us back around to the orca didn't do it.
I didn't believe the witness's testimony from the outset. I am grateful to you, Raldano, for shutting the witness up. As I thought, the only person who could have killed the victim is Sasha Buckler. That fact still remains, whether the witness was the one who tried to kill the orca or not.
Son of a bitch!
Mr. Rimes is right about one thing. His testimony was advantageous to our case. But pointing out the contradiction in his statement will only drive us into a corner.
As Prosecutor Blackquill said, suspicion against Miss Buckler is now deepened.
Oh, if I don't do something fast, the judge is going to find Sasha guilty!
Mr. Wright, isn't there anything we can do? There has to be a way to prove Sasha is innocent.
At a time like this, the thing to do is to turn my thinking around. Instead of trying to prove that Sasha couldn't have done it, I have to think about what made it possible for somebody else to have done it. As long as the crime scene is the Orca pool room, Sasha's the only one who could have committed the crime.
No need for pitying your boldness. Just finish him off with a swift verdict.
It appears the defense has no objections. Very well. I will give my verdict.
Your Honor, please hold off on that verdict!
But you were so quiet, Mr. Wright. Do you have something to say now?
The defense has a counter-argument!
You do?
Pitiful. Such desperation. You look pale. Are you sure you're prepared to make this counter-argument?
A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. I'll never forget those words no matter how many years go by. Even though it's probably just a bluff, I'll give it to them with a smile. What if the scene of the crime was somewhere else?
The scene of the crime?
Somewhere else?
What? You're finding fault with the police investigation now?
As I understand it, the prosecution's argument is as follows. The scene of the crime was the Orca pool room. Only the defendant and the victim entered that room when there was no water in the pool. Therefore, only the defendant could have committed the crime.
That is correct.
Yes, but if the scene of the crime was not the Orca pool room, then somebody other than the defendant could have committed the crime!